take on the mic, kill all the lights, popcorn in a paper bag, and a list of our worst nights. We've seen the masks, we've heard the cracks, we laugh at the fake blood till it crawls into our week. Remember that scene that messed you up for days? Remember that hands on your eyes but you still gazed? We drag the monsters out, name every fear you packed. If it made you sleep with the lamp on, we'll say, remember that.
All right, guys. In honor of our Friday the 13th that's coming up tomorrow, we're going to break down the movie this week, Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Now, it's a 1985 American slasher film that was directed by Danny Steinman, and it's a sequel to the Friday the 13th, Part 4, The Final Chapter, and the fifth installment in the Friday the 13th franchise. Set years after the events of the previous film, the story follows a teenage Tommy Jarvis who is institutionalized at a halfway house near Crystal Lake because of nightmares of mass murderer Jason Voorhees, whom he killed as a child. Now Tommy must face his fears when a new hockey mask wearing murderer initiates another violent killing spree in the area. All right, guys, first impressions. What do you guys got for this movie?
Man, I've seen this movie twice in the last few weeks now because we did the first show and
Right.
had to cancel it, and I watched it again last night. And yeah, I felt the exact same way I did before. I mean, you talk about a movie that knows how to showcase some really gruesome and cool kills, but at the end of the day is one of the cheesiest movies I think I've seen in a while. This movie, everything down to the hillbilly characters we have in this movie. I think her name's Edith. I can't remember if it's Edith or some weird name like that.
That's close enough.
When we get to it, the scene where that guy is just upset and he's riding around on his motorcycle and he's just screaming, I think that perfectly captures like what this movie is, because it's just chaos and pure comedy.
I've got one word for this movie. It is unhinged.
Yeah,
No doubt.
I think all the characters are unhinged. All the way all the scenes are shot are unhinged. Like, it's just it's over the top in all the best ways.
Well, I tell you what, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Believe it or not, Jason goes through several changes throughout the movies, and most everybody hates this movie. Let's just be honest. This is the Halloween 3 of the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah.
But I actually love it.
That's true. This movie gets no love
in this movie
from most of the fan base.
Right. The mask in this movie is honestly my favorite mask of the whole franchise. So I'm definitely the odd man out when it comes to Friday the 13th Part 5. But there's just several iconic scenes in the movie that just, it's very nostalgic to me because I watched this movie a lot growing up. And I've been excited to do this movie since we started doing this podcast because I love it so much. It's definitely one of my favorites, man. It definitely is.
Do you guys want some box office information?
Oh, yeah, Kate. Go ahead and give us that box office information.
Yeah, so I compared this to other Friday the 13th films, and this one had a budget of $2.2 million, and in U.S. it made $21.9. When you go back and you compare that to, I guess, some of the more heavy hitters, all being, I guess, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 had a budget of $550,000 and made $39.7 million. So, of course, that one was huge. Yeah, back in 1980, that was huge, of course. And then Part 2 had a budget of $1.25 million and made $21.7. So, really, this movie was honestly a success, and it came out just a year after Part 4. And it's interesting, they called it The Final Chapter, Part 4, and then a year later release another film in the franchise. I wonder if they knew all along they were going to make a Part 5 and kind of continue Jason's legacy, or if, I don't know how long it took them to make the movie, because it was really just a year after this. I don't know if filming was simultaneously or these guys just pooped out this movie.
They were pumping them out in the 80s, son.
I feel like the entire Friday the 13th franchise was on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would literally release a movie. They'd wait a couple weeks to see how it did. And if it did good enough, they just went ahead and started figuring out the next movie. All the way from the very beginning, they didn't even know they were going to make a part 2. Like, they just thought it was going to be a one-off with the whole, Pamela Voorhees twist at the end, having the mom as the killer. And that created all of the, like, time issues with when he would have drowned at the lake.
Yes, I remember us talking about that.
Technically not drowned at the lake. And, like, how long has he been living in the woods when his mom just, like, was here killing people? Like, could she not have figured out that he's just right there? Like, a lot of continuity issues because they didn't know that they were going to make a sequel to begin with. I think every single year they just winged the franchise, and that's part of the reason why it's one of my favorite franchises, because it's just each one is so ridiculous in its own way. And I think it is because there wasn't a lot of planning involved on this being and a big overarching story. They just wanted to see, all right, last year was successful. Are we going to still be successful this year?
Right.
My understanding of it is that part 4 was actually supposed to be the last one. They actually killed Jason off for real, and then ended up, I guess, because it made some money, they ended up starting with A New Beginning, part 5. So I think that part 4 was actually supposed to be the last one, but money talks. So
definitely money talks.
Part 4 made a lot of money. They had a budget of 2.6 million and made 32.9. So, I mean, at that point, it was just like Call of Duty. Let's poop one out every year, and people will go see it. Now, I don't know nowadays how successful it would be, this franchise, if they did something like this. 'Cause I think, people will be able to kind of tell. I mean, I think this movie sticks to what it knows, and it doesn't like shy away from being cheesy. I mean, when we get to talking about the scene where the guy's singing on the toilet, I mean, if you're a writer and you're writing that scene, like it's just gonna be something stupid. So like, but it's entertaining. And I think like the movie's not too long either. I think this is runtime's like what, an hour and a half. So it's not like they try to do a 2-hour movie here and make it drag on. Like, and that was something that we had an issue with in that film we reviewed. What's the name of that movie, Corky? The knockoff to Friday the 13th?
The Burning.
The Burning. Like, The Burning was like almost 2 hours and was just dragging on forever. But this movie, I think it does that well. It's kind of, not making you sit there too long. It's entertaining.
The film opens with a flashback nightmare sequence where young Tommy Jarvis, the kid who killed Jason in part 4, visits Jason's grave during a storm. Lightning strikes the tombstone, and Jason briefly comes back to life, attacking Tommy before he wakes up screaming, setting the tone that Tommy is still deeply traumatized by his past. Years later, teenage Tommy is being transferred to Pinehurst Halfway House, a rural facility for troubled teens. The place is run by a well-meaning counselor named Pam and a laid-back supervisor named Matt, and it's filled with a colorful group of residents, each with their own issues and personalities. This quickly spirals out of control when two residents get into an argument and one of them brutally kills the other one with an axe. Soon after, a masked killer wearing an iconic hockey mask begins stalking the area, and it looks like Jason Voorhees just might have returned from the grave. Now, one of the things I was wanting to tell you guys about before we, started getting into this is, Bryson, you said something about continuity errors. There's some time errors in this movie too, because this movie was supposed to have it come out a year after part 4, right?
Yeah.
So Tommy Jarvis in the movie is like, what is he, 18 or 19, something like that?
Yeah. He's like college age.
I think he's supposed to be like 17, but
okay.
I don't know for sure.
So in the movie universe, it's at least been 5 or 6 years has went by when the movie has came out just a year later. So we kind of had a time jump there that I don't think they really accounted for, you know what I'm saying? Because I think in the movie, it's still 1985 by the looks of Damon and everybody running around and how they're dressed and stuff like that. But if you go by Tommy's age, if he was 12 in part 4, then if he's 18 now, then we've had at least a 6-year time jump there, but they didn't really account for that in the script and stuff like that. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing.
And I thought the casting, like, for Tommy was just not even close, man. Like, they could have done
so much better.
It's not even close. Like, his eye color is different. So I don't even know if it's like a matter of they just were, trying to save some money and found this guy, and he was menacing enough to play a creepy, like, I guess, weird guy. But yeah, I thought that was weird for me in this movie.
So I'll say if this was not Corey Feldman older, he killed it. You know, he did a really good job at just being very paranoid, very quiet. Sorry, I
You're
don't
good.
know
Yeah.
if okay.
Huh.
But being a Corey Feldman, like, or I guess an older cast of Corey Feldman, they couldn't have gotten any farther away from how Corey Feldman looked.
Yeah.
And this is no bash to Corey Feldman, but he's an interesting looking dude. And, you know, that's where a lot of actors get their start is they might look unique or interesting or whatever, but I don't know if they would have been successful getting somebody to look like an older Corey Feldman. I don't know if you can find that, honestly, just out in the wild like that.
Yeah, and part of what was going on there is that they wanted Corey Feldman to come back and do the movie, but Corey Feldman was already filming, I think, Stand By Me, or
I think it was the
another film
Goonies.
that
I think
the
it was the
Goonies.
Goonies.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the Goonies 85, Stand By Me was 86. So yeah, probably Goonies. But due to his scheduling conflict, they couldn't go with him. And this is just going off of what I saw in a couple of documentaries and different things. But he had scheduling conflicts and was only able to do the little prologue at the beginning of this movie. And so it was actually filmed in his own backyard, in his mom and dad's backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they had the rain machine and everything, and they had the two guys that comes up and they dig up Jason, and that's supposed to be a a dream sequence. And then the movie kind of cuts to him waking up really fast in this halfway house van, and I think what was supposed to have happened, if I'm remembering right, was it was supposed to be about 5 years later, 5 to 6 years later. And so that kind of makes sense because in part 4, Corey Feldman was supposed to be around 11 or 12 years old. And I think Tommy Jarvis, which was his character in this movie, was supposed to be like 17. So that timeline makes sense if you want to look at it like that. But yeah, as far as where they got the guy to fill in for Corey Feldman, I mean, I think that due to his scheduling conflicts and whatnot, they were pretty much forced into doing the 5-year time jump
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make this movie work right.
Yes, I think the original script had Corey Feldman in it. I think it was the original script was
It
meant for
did.
Corey Feldman to be in it.
Yeah.
And so when he couldn't make it, and of course, they had to get another movie out because this is 1985. They had to
Right.
go ahead and probably rush the script is what I'm kind of guessing.
Well, they definitely did.
But I told you guys before the podcast started, this movie has some iconic scenes, and one of those scenes is when Vic chops up. What did you say his name was, Bryson?
I think it was Franklin.
Maybe so, yeah.
So Kate, I think you've got this scene queued up for us. So
Yeah.
I want us to watch this scene and let's just talk about it because this is one of the funniest scenes in the movie right here.
We'll get this pulled up for you guys.
And why is he chopping wood in the summertime? Let's talk about that for a minute.
It's grinding as well.
I think he just needed something to do.
I think so,
They probably
dude.
had him out there trying to let off some steam,
Yeah.
Which is strange because apparently, like, this place is like you get to do whatever you want. It's like an honor system. So he did this like on his own, unless like the guy asked him. Like I'm assuming he probably did. The head honcho.
Check out that chocolate on his mouth.
I don't know how you don't notice this, man.
That's what it's like when new guys come up to me at work.
Yes, exactly. This looks like fun. Now Vic was out of line here. He should have just taken the chocolate bar.
Forget it, Vic.
Just forget it, Vic.
Should have told him that,
I
man.
think you're really out of line.
There we go. That's good.
Yeah, the aftermath of this scene is hilarious. Like they just put like a bed sheet over him, and he's just like straight up post up with just blood everywhere. And then one of the paramedics is like, "Come on, Rick, like get your hands dirty." Whatever.
It's Roy. He said, "Get your
Roy.
hands dirty, Roy."
Like, yeah, there's not a
Shoot.
dead like teenager in front of you. And then, a little bit of foreshadowing here. We see the paramedic. He kind of makes a weird face. And what
Yeah,
does it
so
mean?
Roy, his eyes are kind of weird looking anyway. And so every time that I see that scene, he looks like the guy that's about to change into the Incredible Hulk from the
Yeah.
I
Oh
just
yeah.
see it happening. It's like, oh, this guy's about to Hulk out.
So since you guys are the experts on Jason here, like this movie essentially the spirit of Jason is taking over people. So was Vic here possessed by Jason? And because the paramedic, he like somehow gets possessed or something here. His
Oh
personality
no,
changes.
No,
I
he
no.
think it's very much. Oh, my bad.
No, I was just saying, like, you're about to say it, Bryson, but dude just snaps because the kid that got chopped up by Vic is his son.
Yeah.
So why does the paramedic basically turn into Jason in this movie then? Like what
Because
happened?
he
They're not
snapped.
far from the lake.
Yeah, I think this is still around Crystal Lake. So there's
It
always
is.
been that lore of Jason and everything. And I think he just become a copycat killer, when he's seen his son get chopped up, which first off, let's talk about if you loved him that much, why wouldn't you in his life? Let's start right there.
Yeah, they never did explain that.
No.
But that was his son?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what
So
set
that
him
was
off.
his son, and he saw him all chopped up.
Okay.
He kind of snapped, and the only explanation that they really gave is that this paramedic was always very quiet
Okay.
and like he was always kind of a weird dude to begin with. So I guess he had it in him this whole time, and it took seeing his son that he had no connection with chopped up to
So
lose his
I
mind.
honestly did not realize that was his son. I don't know how I
yeah.
missed that.
Yeah,
So-
and then he
crazy.
just figured he'd don the mask and be Jason Voorhees as like it'd be like somebody in Tennessee going around dressed up as Bigfoot killing people,
Right.
trying to use the lore of the area to potentially get away with it.
Okay.
Well,
That makes
But
also,
I would say during this time Jason is dead because you have
Yeah, he
Jason
is.
Jason Goes to Hell, wherever Zombie Jason comes in, I think
Part
is in part
6, the
6.
next one.
Yeah.
So then you have Zombie Jason where he
Yeah.
actually comes back from the dead. This
That
is
makes
this
sense.
is just kind of a in between.
Yeah.
So Roy going on this big killing spree and using the persona of Jason is also kind of, he knows that Tommy is there. So you're still around Crystal Lake. I think in a conversation between the head counselor at this place and the sheriff, they have a conversation and he's talking about he's too close to the lake to have this halfway house. He wished that, he could have moved it to the next county. He actually said, I wish that you would have moved it to the next county. So you're still in the same county. You still have the Jason lore. And now Tommy Jarvis, which is known to have escaped Jason before and it messed him up. I think Roy is going to take on the persona of Jason, but he's also going to try to get Tommy blamed for the murders because all of the bodies that the kids that he's been killing, he ends up stacking up in Tommy's room in the halfway house.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't
And
he?
so,
That is true.
So he's a little bit of a mastermind here. Yes, he does snap and he does take on the persona of Jason, but he's smart enough to like, I'm going to try to deflect suspicion off of me and put it back onto Tommy.
Makes sense. I never thought about it that way. But they give a lot of clues. Again, I watched this movie when it first came out, and when it first came out, we didn't really know that Roy was the killer. It was kind of doing the whole, who is it theme, way before Scream came out.
And it tried to make it look like it was Tommy because Tommy ended up going off on the dude on the motorcycle. And Tommy ended up going off on the dude that, stole his mask and scared him
He
at the
freaking
kitchen table.
suplexed that guy too.
Yeah. Like it.
It was awesome.
But there's a scene where Tommy has a nightmare when he's in his room and he looks down and he sees Jason staring up at him through the window. Well, if you'll notice in that scene, Jason has the right hockey mask on. He has the right clothes on. That lets you know that he's looking at the real Jason, but you don't tie it in to Roy. He's got a hockey mask on, but it's not Jason's hockey mask. Plus, Roy wore a Michael Myers mechanic suit, where Jason wore a green shirt and what got gray pants, something like that. So
Yeah.
they gave you clues through the movie, but nobody really picked up on it at the time because Jason was just Jason, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think
kinda
it's
cool.
cool, even like, especially going back and watching it, because when I first watched part 5, I didn't realize that that wasn't Jason. You
Mhm.
know, I thought the whole scene with Corey Feldman and the guys digging the grave up and the lightning striking and him coming up, I'm like, okay, like that's what happened. But Corey Feldman wasn't there. He's just dreaming of it. But that
Right.
actually happened. So now Jason's alive again. You know, he's doing all the killings. And it was a twist ending for me to realize that it was not Jason, it was the paramedic. But when you go back and watch this movie as a fan, it is set up as a whodunit. You
Right.
just don't realize it at the time because of the other 4 movies. But yeah, there's so many scenes where someone will get killed and then it'll cut to Tommy, or they purposefully left some sort of a gap where Tommy wasn't around when somebody had gotten killed. So you could even walk into this movie, not have watched the other 4, and it would probably seem like a whodunit if you hadn't had the knowledge of the previous movies.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, apart from
definitely
like a
some
few
suspicion
callbacks.
put on Tommy because at the end of
Mhm.
Yeah.
part 4, you know, Trish comes into the hospital room. Tommy's there. He's kind of already spaced out. He's kind of already acting like Jason, where he's just kind of standing there menacingly as this little boy. She gives him a hug, and he's hugging her. She's crying, but then he opens up his eyes, and the camera kind of freezes. And so it's kind
Mhm.
of like, okay, so now Jason's dead, and it's leading up to Tommy becoming the new Jason because of the way that he's acting.
Right.
So you come off of that movie, you know, that movie come out in 84. This movie come out in
Yeah, it's
85.
just
So
a year later.
just a year later, and you've got all of these killings that look like Tommy's the one that's doing it. So yeah, it's definitely a whodunit because it makes the audience go, okay, it looks like it's Tommy, but is it Tommy? Is it really Jason? Is it really somebody else at the halfway house that he's at that's trying to frame him? You know, who is it? So yeah, it's very much a whodunit that's focused on Tommy. Is my take on it.
Yep, that's 100%, man. So where we're at in the movie though is obviously I'll keep wanting to call him Shelly, but his name, did you say Franklin?
I
He-
think it's Frank.
Franklin,
Yeah.
whatever the guy, chocolate guy, whatever his name is, takes the axe to the back, you know.
Shelley's
it-
in part 3, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shelly's part 3, but they kind of look alike, so I get them mixed up. But yeah, but you know, he's dead, and you know the paramedic Roy, you know, he flips out. But then they take Tommy to his room and they show him around because they used to call these kind of camps really existed back in the 80s, and I forget what they called them, but they ended up outlawing them or getting rid of them all because these kids would really get abused, you know, in these camps. But these type of halfway houses really existed back then, where they would take kids and to like a summer camp and try to rehabilitate them there and stuff like that. But as soon as Tommy goes into his room, what's his name, Reggie?
Reggie
Yeah.
the Reckless.
Reggie the Reckless
Reckless.
drops a spider on him and scares him to death. And I think those scenes happen just they're letting you know how short Tommy's fuse is, how you know uneasy he is, and you know just I think that's why they put those scenes in there. But you know, we follow up at breakfast the next morning. They come down and Violet's setting plates for Franklin's dead body, and he's like, you know, you don't set plates for dead people, and she's like, well, I forgot, you know, it was an accident. But
Yeah, it's like
He
it's
got
not that
killed
big a deal.
yesterday, man. What do you want me to do?
yeah,
It's like it's not that big a deal, dude. Just pick up the
This
plate.
is muscle memory
It's
at
like,
this
you
point.
don't do that.
But yeah, this first part of the movie is just setting up everything, and you know this movie's going to eventually turn into your classic Friday the 13th movie, and that's what it eventually does. But you know basically the killings begin, and we come up to another iconic scene that I love dearly. So which scene happened? Are we at the robot scene, or is that going to be our
That'll
third
be
scene?
I
that'll
think
be
that's a
towards
bit
the
later.
end.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're at the Jersey Boys is what I like to call them. Like the two
Yeah.
guys in the leather jackets with the slicked back hair, their car's
Yeah.
broken
Yeah.
down.
And that's
Yeah.
a good kill too, because he
It
kills
is.
him with a road flare. And
Yeah,
that's awesome.
it's brutal. So his buddy, one of them goes in the woods to take a crap, and also this guy is just such a jerk. His buddy is working on his car for him, first of all,
Yeah.
and then he just starts like making fun of him, like, talking crap about him, like, "Okay, I'm just gonna sabotage your car, dude. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna rip this battery out and chuck it in the woods and be like, dude, I don't know what happened." And so his friend goes in the woods, Jason, I'll call him Jason at the time, puts that flare in his mouth, and, I mean, that's what I say of this movie. The kills are awesome in this movie. They're brutal, and we get into one later on with a certain female lead who gets killed, but this kill was insane, yeah. So what did you guys think about this scene?
Well, I
I
got
thought it
theories
was
about this
awesome.
scene. Well, why do you guys think these guys were dressed up like these greasers in 1985?
Yeah, I don't know. They were doing a
Well,
play or
they were
just, like,
going to
trying
a
to be
party.
cool?
They were going
Well,
to
the
a party, and I think that they were just like these, auto mech kids that just were kind of greasers or whatever, and they just going to go to this party, and that's kind of they were there just to up the kill count anyway.
oh,
Like
exactly.
Right.
I don't think that they served any purpose to the movie other than just to be killed
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
up the
Well,
kill.
the going theory though is the movies, and they never say this in the movie, but the theory is that it's set around Halloween, and they were going to a Halloween party. And they also said that would explain why Demon is in town and why he's dressed like he is. But then at the same time, I don't really agree with that because that's how people dressed in 1985 is exactly how
Yeah,
Demon was dressed, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But that
Yeah,
kind of
that's
would explain the whole greaser thing.
yeah, it's
And
interesting too,
plus,
because like, I thought it was summer, honestly. I thought it was.
it
Well,
may have been. I just read
also,
that online. I have no clue if it's right or not.
the two guys at the car. Okay, if you've ever played
Mm.
Friday the 13th, the video game, this is the scene. You've got two guys in a car that's broke down. One of them goes out into the woods. No, the one that was on
Oh, not this
PlayStation
one.
4.
My bad.
The one on PlayStation 4. The
Yeah,
one
that's the
that
newer survival horror game.
So the one that come out a few years on PlayStation 4, you play as Jason, and it's one of the first scenes that you play as. You're having to kill these two guys. So they're working on the car. One of them stays at the car working on the car. The other one walks off into the woods. You can kill either one at any time. I usually killed the one walked into the woods, and there was a certain way that you had to sneak up on him to get the maximum amount of points. And then you went back over and you killed the dude at the car. Now, if you screwed up, then of course they would run away from you, and you can't teleport yet, so they would get into the car and drive off. I've actually been ran over by the car in the video game. But
Yeah.
that scene in the video game, I personally feel is taken from this scene in part 5 because it's
Most
the exact
definitely,
same
yeah.
setup. It's the exact same setup.
Yeah, I never put that together, man. I don't remember that part of the video game. I thought
It's
it was just an
it's right
online
there.
game,
It's
but
probably the first scene that you do when you're on
Maybe
the
it's a
Really?
tutorial.
when you're on the player mode, when you're on single player mode, which they didn't support. Like they had a single player mode, but it was supposed to be played as multiplayer. But you could go into
right.
that single player mode, and that was one of the scenarios that it sets you up with. One of the first
Really? I
ones.
never played single player mode. That's crazy.
Yep, I only remember
didn't
just the
either.
survival horror multiplayer
Yeah.
version of the game.
Well,
Wow. It was
see,
fun,
go
though.
figure.
I don't do online games. I'm not good at them. I'd rather just play, single player and figure the game
Yeah,
out on my
same.
own. So that's what I did. But the single player mode on that particular game sucked, and they
Yeah.
didn't support it. So whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so the two greasers are now dead. You
Yep.
know, somebody made the joke that, since Roy wears a mechanic suit, he was probably getting ready to put his suit on and go over and help them fix the car, but they was acting like jerks, so he went ahead
So
and
he
put
just
the
killed
hockey
them.
mask on and killed them.
I mean, that's something Roy would do.
Yeah.
Is so after this scene,
That's
is it
classic Roy.
the diner scene?
Do what, Cade?
After this scene is over, does it then go to the diner scene, or is that
No,
another day
we
after?
actually meet Ethel. We actually meet Ethel.
Yeah.
I think
What
either
a
right before this scene or
just
right after this scene. And I love Ethel.
what a
Oh,
She
yeah,
was put
Ethel's
in the
great.
movie
oh,
for comedic effect. She was a very sweet person for the people that met her at all the cons and stuff, from what I've heard. But man, she was
Yeah.
a trashy mouth woman in this movie. Golly bum.
Yes.
Hi-ya!
She gets mad at her son. She's like, "You're just so
she was
stupid." And then he says something dumb, and he chops that chicken.
her
Yeah,
and
she's
that her and
definitely
her
mom of the year,
son
I'll tell you
are
that.
so over the top.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
there's
who
no
was
way
that
they were
guy
ever
that
meant to be
showed up
taken
at her
serious.
house?
Yeah,
that looked like that
Yeah.
kung fu guy
I
that used to
think he
walk.
was only
David Carradine.
introduced just to be a potential suspect of
Yeah,
like,
who done it guy.
yeah.
yeah,
It was
because he wasn't even in there
because
long. I think he was just,
And to up the kill count. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, because he come in and he was like, "Yeah, I'll clean your chicken house out for food or whatever," and then
I
he
like to
ends
earn a
up
meal.
walking. Yeah, then he ends up walking up on the two teenagers that were, indisposed at the moment, and
Heck yeah.
he ended up turning into a big perv basically, and he got killed. And then old Roy took care of the other two.
Yeah, now when they went and got caught over there, making love over in Ethel's yard, this wasn't the
Yeah,
time they got killed. This is the time that the sheriff brought them back, wasn't it? And
yeah. Yeah,
he
when we
tells,
first meet Ethel, yeah, the
yeah,
sheriff had brought them back, and they were
but I
joking
think
about it.
this time is when they get killed. Is when that old dude was watching them.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
when the
was.
yeah,
old
that's
dude
when
was
they done.
watching them, that's when they got killed because there was three kills that happened in a very short span of time. There was old perv dude that was working for meals, and then they
Yeah.
had the two teenagers that got killed. And that was I remember when I was a kid. I saw that scene and I just thought it was the coolest kill. Now I understand, as a kid, I'm watching that and I got to see boobs. Okay.
Yeah, I,
Absolutely.
I love this
I
scene,
was
man.
I was like all about
Yeah.
that. That's awesome. I got to see some boobs and I rewatched that, rewound it and would watch again just because I got
Pause
to
it,
see some boobs.
Yeah.
But when he kills that chick with the clippers in the
Yeah.
eyeballs
Yeah, then
or bolt cutters or whatever that was, dude,
It was the shears.
that was one of the most awesome kills in the whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was great.
yeah,
They
it might
took
be the
that
best
straight from the
kill.
burning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh
it
yeah.
was brutal because he stabbed her in the eyes and then actually
And
closed
closed them.
the
Yeah.
shears, and so it
Yeah,
cut
and you
across her
heard it. You
skull.
heard it like crack, It
Yeah.
was awesome.
But Daniel, it's funny that you bring up the female anatomy here while we're talking about this, because first off, the director of this movie had just filmed a pornographic movie before he filmed this movie. So this guy was all into nudity, okay? And Kay, you probably look up the director for us, but anyhow, whoever he is,
Yeah.
he was before he'd done this movie, he was actually a pornographic movie director. That scene and her last name was Voorhees in real life. I can't remember her
I
first
think
name.
so. I think that was her name was
Yeah.
Voorhees. Yep.
But that scene on screen was like 30 seconds, whatever. The nudity part of it was that long. During the filming of the movie, it was 16 minutes long. They had to cut like over 15 minutes out of the movie just to get a rated R rating.
Gosh.
Yeah, I
So
heard
they-
that. Yeah.
this director was real into nudity. And what was her name? Cade Voorhees. What was her first name?
So let me get the cat. So her name, the one who's Voorhees, Deborah.
Deborah Voorhees.
Yeah, that's her name in the movie.
This being the 80s and all, they ran a contest on, best breasts in movies, back then. And Miss Deborah Voorhees got number 3 best breasts of 1985. So there you go.
Congratulations.
good
Yeah.
for her.
I think she was also in like on online these group polls and stuff like Friday 13th groups and whatnot. She is consistently a number 1 or a number 2 of being the what is considered the hottest,
Mhm.
female in a Friday the 13th movie. She's up there pretty much consistent with 1 and 2 all the time in every poll that I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's definitely got a fan base. I'll say that.
Yeah.
What about the girl from the diner scene? Is she on that list?
That was ridiculous.
It's showtime. That's
Who-
all I've got to
Who
say.
flashes themselves? You
Yeah.
I
know?
don't know, dude.
Well,
Yeah, that
again,
was-
this is your typical movie in 1985. You had to have so many breast scenes in a movie just to be able to get a theatrical release.
The guy's name, the
was
director's
rules
name
back
was
then.
Danny Steinman. That was his name.
That was the
he looks,
director.
yeah, he looks like a girl creeper, dude.
Yeah, he was definitely he definitely loved filming the female anatomy. I'll put it that way.
Look at this. Look at his face here. I'll share
Yeah,
it.
let's see his face.
Here he is.
Look
Yeah.
at this guy.
Yeah, that's a real winner right there.
Yeah, man. He just
That's-
looked like somebody that'd
yeah.
say pose for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, super weird.
Yeah. But yeah, so the deaths, is there any other scene we need to cover as far as the first part of the movie here before we move on to the middle part of the movie?
I do
I
like
guess-
the diner scene because
Yeah.
the guy.
Well, let's
the
talk
guy's-
about it then.
The guy is really cool. Like he's one of the
Ba-ba-ba-boom.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was one of the guys from the Unger Medical Institute that was bringing Tommy in, and he's
Yeah.
just a super cool guy. And this guy
He was
just,
the guy reading the Playboy magazine while they was driving
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah.
he
Well, I
got
mean, he
in his
probably wasn't
car.
reading it, but you know.
He was calling his girlfriend out there, and then while he's waiting on her, just playing some music, he just like slapping his legs, and he smacks the top of his car, and his
Yeah.
tray falls down. I'm like, this dude's got it going on.
Ba-ba-ba-boom.
and then his death, he gets out of the car, and then I believe Roy just impales him. What does he do to him? Because like, does he hit him in the head with something? I can't
He hits
remember how
him-
he dies.
No, he takes an axe and chops him in the head with it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Now-
Because I want to say I remember like the camera cutting to like a body.
All right, here's a quick trivia question for you guys. Where did Roy get that axe?
It would have been from the beginning of the movie.
Exactly.
From
That was the
Old
axe that
Dick.
killed his son. Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly where he got it at. Because, Jason isn't known for really killing people with axes. So old Roy snatched that up off his son's dead body and said, well, I'm going to put this to some good use myself. So, yeah, there's your little interesting tidbit for that kill scene right there.
But his death, and then the lady from the diner, her death, which she just kind of got her. I believe she's got her throat cut off, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
or stabbed through the chest. But yeah, those are the first main deaths of the movie, and they happen pretty
And-
quickly.
They also have the proverbial cat that lives.
But where was the cat? I didn't see
Yeah.
the cat.
It was in the diner. It jumped
Was it?
out at her,
Oh, yeah.
scared her.
You're right. You're right. Yep.
And she had to go chase it down. And then I reckon she set it out or whatever. But then that's when she was spraying herself and flashing herself. And
Well,
She
it
went
was
and-
showtime. So,
she went and found old dude's drugs in the car, and she's just going to start doing them. And then, I reckon Roy sneaks up on her and he gets her too.
She didn't even think nothing. She just kind of like laughed when she saw the drugs in the floorboard. She was like, "Oh, that's classic. Whatever his name is." And
yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't think so. If this dude
Dude
is
just ran
smacking
off.
his like roof of his car and that just tumbles out, and it's good. He ain't spilling that on the floorboard. He's not. He is not spilling that on the floorboard. If
No.
you really are seeing this dude and you see that on the floorboard, you need to know something's not okay.
Yeah, yeah. If you drop your cocaine in the floorboard, something has went wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. What's funny is that whole scene, if I remember it right, because I done some research on this a few weeks ago, I think this whole kill scene was actually supposed to have been used in part 4, but they didn't use it. So they carried that whole scene over to part 5 and put it in this movie. If
And
I
I'm pretty
remember
sure
it.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds right.
That's pretty awesome. Is there anything left for the first part of the movie before we move on? I don't want to leave anything out that you guys want to go over.
I think those are
Not-
pretty much the main points.
Not other than just the sheriff starts to connect stuff, because now the next day, the following day, they find the greasers, right? Is it the
Yeah.
greasers that they are loading up, or is it the drug people?
I want to say it's the Gracers.
It's one of the two, and then
Yeah.
that's when the sheriff he starts putting 2 and 2 together, and he was like, "Okay, this is Jason Voorhees' MO."
Yeah.
And
'cause I'll tell
so-
you who it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when the mayor he bust in on him, and he was like, you got to figure this out, and he was like, "I've already figured this out." He was like, "Who is it?" He was like, "Jason Voorhees," and that was the first time as a kid. Now I'm sure that it's mentioned previously, but it was the first time as a kid that I remember Jason's even having a last name. Because I was like, "Oh, his last name's Voorhees." Okay, like Pamela Voorhees back in part 1. I didn't put that together when I was a kid.
No.
Like I'm going, okay, the dude's name was Jason. That's all I know. And then he says Jason Voorhees. I thought I was on to something. I was like, "Oh, I know this guy's last name now." Okay, yeah, stupid kid. But yeah, other than that, the sheriff starts to put 2 and 2 together, and then I think pretty much the sheriff just like disappears. I don't remember seeing
Yeah.
him.
He
I
had,
don't remember seeing this guy.
Yeah, he's not
him
doing
and the
it- he's
mayor
not
had to
doing
go
his
close
best
the beach
job.
down. That's what they had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got a shark problem over there.
Yeah.
He's working with Chief Brody.
All right, guys. So we'll skip on over to the middle of the movie now. So once the killings begin, the movie fully leans into a classic Friday the 13th slasher. The halfway house residents and people in the surrounding woods start getting picked off one by one with increasingly brutality and sometimes even bizarre ways, like, we talked about with the hedge clippers through the eyeballs and stuff like that. Now, along the way, we meet some memorable characters, including a couple of greasers. We've done talked about those guys. They got, took out, and some unlucky travelers who wander in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's the creepy guy over at Ethel's house. And then meanwhile, Tommy begins acting increasingly unstable, experiencing violent flashes and visions of Jason that make everyone question whether he might be losing control. As the body count rises and chaos spreads around Pinehurst, suspicion grows that Tommy himself might be becoming the next Jason, continuing the cycle of violence that started with him years earlier. So now we get to talk about, do we want to do the demon scene or do we want to do violent scene right now?
Yeah, I think
well,
the
when
demon
we
scene
want
comes
to
first.
Hit up trivia.
Yeah.
The demon scene is first. I can do trivia, but I'm pretty sure I got to turn my camera off for it to get to my notes. It's in my notes on my phone, and
Gotcha.
I'm going for my phone. So we can do trivia, but you just won't see me, I guess.
Well, we might not. We might just have to skip trivia because I don't want you to get booted off.
Yeah, it might kick
That's
you
That's
off.
fine. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
But so anyhow, so let's go ahead and so Reggie the Reckless is wants to go visit his brother Damon, which for some reason is coming in town this week. Now, I told you guys about these iconic scenes in this movie. Now, this is one of the main scenes that to this day I'll be walking around, singing "Ooh Baby" and stuff like that. This is one of the most memorable scenes for me, anyhow, in this movie. Cade's gonna pull it up, and we're gonna watch it and just enjoy it, man, because this is cinema at its best right here as well.
Yeah, this guy
It
should
doesn't
have
get
won.
any more. Doesn't get any more 80s than this right here.
No, it don't. Sitting in a van smoking marijuana in front of your little brother.
Hey, stay
Dang.
safe,
You
friends.
want a pizza? You want an enchilada?
Man, he's got pizza, enchiladas. He's got everything.
Apparently, those enchiladas got some beans in them.
He was
No
like,
wonder Reggie looks up to him.
"You want some pizza, cheese and sausage?"
Just think he's got to peel out of them leather pants.
And them things are stuck to him.
Yeah. He's sweating in them.
In that freaking van, dude, in the summer, he's got.
Oh, you ain't running like that if you're not already sweating.
Yeah.
Man, this is me after I come home from Solas, Texas.
That's
He
me
just gets
before I
pissed.
get home from school.
And this is what would happen if I went camping with my kids.
Brent will be doing this to you.
You'll get my ass in an outhouse and shake
Gotta
it.
get it.
Got to look for it.
You gotta look. You gotta
Ain't no
look.
snake here, lady.
Now,
She just starts singing.
So
you tell
iconic.
me how many times you've been sitting at home on the toilet and you just start doing this.
Oh, I do
I
it every
have.
time. Every
I
time
have.
I sit down.
Daniel, if you hear me in the stall tomorrow at work doing this, just
Ooh,
ignore
I'm
it.
not listening to you.
Hey, Daniel, you gotta do it back.
I'll shake the stall.
We gotta be sitting there in the bathroom. One of our managers are gonna walk in and be like, "What the heck are these guys doing?"
Look, if I ran like that to the bathroom, the last thing I need is someone singing.
Okay.
Like he's gonna do something.
I'm gonna be battling so many demons at that point.
Look at him. He
This
don't
guy-
even
don't
wipe,
sing to
man.
me.
He pulled
He
them
has-
leather pants up and didn't even wipe.
He's got poop all in his butt.
Nobody
okay?
ever wipes in these movies.
No.
Now, this is a brutal kill scene right here because he
It
doesn't know
is.
where they're going to come through at, man. That'd be a look at that. One's going to hit him in the leg. Oh,
I would have laid flat on the ground or something, dude.
yeah. I sure wouldn't put my back up to the wall like that. Oh, got him.
And that's the end of Demon. He died with poop all in his
That's
pants.
awesome. I laugh at this scene so hard every time I watch it. That's so
Those
cool.
damn enchiladas.
Yeah, dude. It's so over the top, but
Yeah,
the way that he
so-
died was cool. It was
All right,
cool.
I went into the locker room since we've watched this. It's been pretty recent, and it just so happened nobody was in the stall. So I get in the stall and I said, "This shit box is gross," and somebody walked in.
No
I
way.
was like, "Oh man."
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna start saying in the bathroom beside your office, Daniel. I'll do it tomorrow.
Oh, that's the busiest bathroom on the
It
face of
is.
this earth.
Yeah.
I went into that bathroom on a Sunday with nobody in the plant, and somebody walk
Listen,
in.
My
Like
buddy, he was taking a dump in one of the stalls, and this guy came up to the urinal beside the stall, and he was struggling to pee, and this man put his hand on the stall and started shaking it, trying to pee and grunting. And my
What?
buddy Zach said that he just sat there froze. He said he was mid poop and it just sat there and couldn't do it.
Sounds like my guy was having some problems if he was struggling that hard to pee. You know what
He
I'm
was
saying?
Man,
like,
I'll tell you, that bathroom that he's talking about, that's the busiest bathroom. If
God.
you are scared of being alone, go to that bathroom. And
You'll go take a
you will
dump,
not
and
be by
somebody
yourself.
will be standing 2 inches from the door waiting for you to get done.
Good Lord,
That's-
man. I at
It's
least
the
gotta have a
worst.
couple feet, man, or you're
They
gonna have to give me
they
some
got
pussy.
they got 2 bathroom stalls for 1,000 employees.
That's the way it is where
and
I work. That's
I
true.
don't even use that bathroom anymore because
Oh, God.
there's no peace there. You have to go to the locker
Right.
room. You go to the locker room.
But getting back to the movie, I wanna say at this point, Pam and Reggie go back, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Pam
Yeah.
is I think she is at this point, have some of the, kids started to catch on to the fact that, okay, like, the 2 other kids that go and have sex in the woods, they're dead, like, or they
Well,
don't know where they're at, and they
so
report it.
yeah, this scene right here, a lot of things happen in a very short amount of time. First off, Damon and his girlfriend get killed. Okay. But even before that happens, Tommy
Oh,
is
yeah, Tommy.
attacked by the dude on the motorcycle. So he gets into a fight with him, and dude rides off in the motorcycle, goes back to his house. Tommy runs off. Pam and Reckless get back in the truck and drive down the exact same 50-foot piece of road. If you remember that, they drive down this exact same 50-foot piece of road about 6 or 7 times, and that's supposed to be the equivalent of so many miles, you know. I'm laughing because they passed the same rock. They got the same rock that they keep passing, and I'll start laughing about that. But aside from that, you know, then Demon and his girlfriend get killed. Then you flip back over to Ethel. Ethel and the son gets home, and he's riding
That's my favorite scene in the movie apart from
the dirt bike around the yard, you know, doing a big circle, riding up on the front porch. You hurt me, Mom. You
Mom!
hurt me.
Mom!
he's
And
an
she's
idiot.
like, get in here and eat your dinner. I'm making your stew, you know, and she's throwing crap in this pot. Then that's when, you know, Junior, I guess is his name, Junior gets killed. All you see is the headlight of his bike, and then all of a sudden there's a machete that comes out. So it
Meat cleaver.
decapitates him, a meat cleaver. It decapitates him, and then the next scene, you've got like, doesn't his head come flying through the window
he
into the
he gets
pot of stew?
decapitated.
Yeah.
So
So his head comes
yeah.
off, and then Roy kills Ethel by like basically impaling her through the window, and then her face falls into the stew and she dies. She
Yeah.
squeezes that tomato and she's
Yeah,
dead.
yeah. She squeezes the tomato. So a lot of things are happening at the same time. And Pam and Reckless don't realize anything else besides Tommy running off. They don't realize anything's going on. They get back to the halfway house, and she's talking to Gramps, which is Reckless's papa,
Mhm.
and then the actual owner of the halfway house. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go look for these 2 morons that, you know, ran off earlier today. They're probably back over at Ethel's causing trouble. He goes to go look for them. She tells him about Tommy. And so Tommy at this point is just MIA. And Pam goes to look for Tommy, and she sends Reckless back with, you've got Violet and the other 2 that I can't remember what their names are. And
Yeah.
that's when, see, at that point, the only thing that they know is they're missing Tommy, which they know Pam went to go look for him. And they're missing the other 2 kids that ended up getting, you know, killed in the woods with the creeper. That's who the owner went to go look for. So he puts the dude with the stutter, he puts him in charge
Yeah.
while, you know, everybody's gone. And then you have Roy actually comes in and basically wipes everybody out at the halfway house in a very short amount of time.
Right.
That's kind of what's going on.
All right, guys, I'll tell you this much. For everybody out there, Daniel had a little bit of technical difficulties before we got started. So for right now, he can't get to his trivia questions. So we was going to skip it, but you know what? I have 5 questions, and I'm going to call out for these guys real quick. So I will pull up the mantle. I will bear this for the podcast tonight.
Careful, guys.
There
These
you
questions could be AI
This
generated.
AI
Yeah.
I
mess
promise
ups.
you, they're all AI generated. So if they're wrong,
They're gonna be
it's
so
not my
wrong.
fault.
He stabbed her with a sniper rifle.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna do 5 questions, and then after these 5 questions, we'll wrap the movie up and we will rate it. How's that sound?
Sounds
Cool.
good to
Sounds
me.
good.
All right. Now, for future reference, Bryson and everybody, the kid that was killed with the candy bar's name was Joey, not Franklin. So it was Joey.
Okay.
Big
So
Joey.
Oh,
Well,
Franklin's
we're-
from Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was the
Okay.
invalid.
My
Hey, I ain't even gonna say it.
Daniel's famous line. Dude.
I ain't
I
even gonna say
gotta
it.
make a sound bite out of that. I swear to God.
what's his name? What's his name?
Joey.
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 Sorry, Joey. That's my
Joey
fault.
Burns.
He was an
All right.
invalid.
Question number 1. You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What food does Demon famously ask his girlfriend to make him before leaving the outhouse scene?
Daniel.
Cade,
An enchilada.
yes. Which that question makes no sense.
Okay, hold
I don't
on. Hold on.
even- I don't
Bonus,
think that even
bonus
happened.
question. Bonus question. Earlier, before that happened, Demon offered Pam something to eat. What was it, and what was on it?
Cade.
Cade?
It's a slice of pizza and it's cheese and sausage.
Yeah. He goes, you want some
Good
pizza,
job.
cheese, and sausage?
Good job.
Good job, Kate.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
So,
There you go.
number 2. What is the name of the biker gang member who gets killed after harassing the Pinehurst resident?
What?
What?
You're talking some.
Hey.
You're talking part 3 bull crap, man. What?
Yeah,
Man,
that's a
that
part 3
AI
question.
got you again.
Let me
AI
say
Daniel,
got you
Daniel,
again.
part 3.
Look, y'all can't
Do you
blame
know
this
it,
on
though?
me. I'm trying to do
Do you
this
know
off
it, though,
the seat
Daniel?
of my
Part
butt.
3.
Let
That'll
me
do his name.
let me pre-read these things because there wasn't no biker gang in this movie.
Because the
Ain't
first
no
question,
Yeah,
biker
I
gang
don't,
in part-
These are part 3 questions. Lord.
Bryson. Is this sniper rifle?
it's a sniper.
It's a sniper rifle. All right.
Sniper rifle.
What vehicle does Roy Burns drive in this movie? Okay,
He drives a paramedic van.
Daniel.
I'll take that. I'll take
Oh,
that.
come
It's an
on.
ambulance.
It's an ambulance.
It's an ambulance.
Yeah,
All right,
paramedic van. I'm a freaking idiot.
It's a paramedic van.
You shouldn't have given that to him. I had ambulance, man.
All right, number.
It's
is this number 3 or number 4?
This will be number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Who directed the film?
Cade. Danny Steinman.
Danny Steinman. That's correct.
He
Good
got
job.
the information pulled up. That's not fair.
Good job,
He
Kate.
should get a point deducted.
Number
This
4.
is horse crap.
What is the
Paramedic
name
van.
of the troubled resident that killed Joey?
Daniel,
Bryson.
Daniel.
big.
Vic is correct. Good job. And I'm pretty sure Cade cannot be beat. But the last question: what is the color of the chevrons on Roy's hockey mask?
Cade.
Bryson.
Daniel,
Bryson.
Blue.
Blue is correct.
Good
All
job.
right. Cade,
Thank
what's
you.
the
Thank
score
you.
tonight, buddy?
I'm not used to ringing in.
I had 3 points, and Daniel had 1 point, and Bryson had 1 point.
So Cade wins
On the
again.
board.
So you need to get your point taken away. You looking up the director, got it pulled up right in front of you on the screen, man.
So
I
if I
know
have
you're
to-
cheating. I
if
know
I-
you cheat.
If I have 2 points, that means I still win, Daniel.
That's
Paramedic
like
van.
that's still horse crap. I know you
And-
cheating.
I want to say this: the question that Corky asked at the very beginning, I don't even think that happened in the movie. I just
Which
said it
one?
wrong. So where she asked, like, because he's got to go poop.
Yeah,
And,
that made no sense because
I
he
don't
said that
think-
before he
I
went
don't
to
think
poop.
He asked for
Yeah, he's
food.
not in there and ask her to go get no enchilada.
No, he
Give me
didn't
an
ask
He's
him
enchilada.
in
about
there
no
because he
enchiladas.
ate the enchilada.
Look, here's what I'm saying. You cannot trust Chat GPT to come up with your questions, okay?
No, you
I
cannot.
think for the older movies, it might be harder. I don't know.
Well, listen, the last 2 weeks, my Chat GPT questions are absolutely.
Oh
All right.
my gosh, dude.
Okay,
So-
all right, Corky.
All right, what you got?
What is the total kill count for this
Good
movie?
Lord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
23.
Holy.
Dude, what?
23. I couldn't believe it either. I couldn't believe it either.
Is there 23 people in this movie?
Well, all
I-
right. So the question is the total
You're
kill
going to have
count
to
of the
name them
movie.
off. I don't know if I
The
believe that.
total kill count of the movie. So you got the two guys digging up Jason's grave in a dream. That's two
I
right
didn't
there.
count them, so there's two.
That's two right there. Then you've got the two greasers in a car is four.
Four.
You've got
Joey,
Joey is
five.
five. Now the internet said that Vic ended up being a casualty, but I didn't count that.
No,
I
Vic
didn't
did
count
not
No, he
die in
got
this
taken
movie.
away.
Yeah.
So we're at Joey, we're at five. Then you've got the drifter and the two kids having sex in the woods.
Mhm.
That's 8. You got Ethel and her son is 10. Then you've got Demon and his girlfriend is 12. Then
I
you've
didn't
got
count them either.
the ambulance driver, the one that said "Get
Yep.
your hands dirty, Roy," is
Yeah, at the
13.
diner.
Yep.
You've got the two guys at the diner is 15.
Yep.
You've got hold on. You've got Gramps is 16.
Yeah.
You've got the owner is 17.
Yeah.
You've got Violet, the dude in charge, and the girl gets it up to 20. Then you've
Yeah.
got Roy himself that gets killed is 21.
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing two. Because I looked it up. It was 23.
The two
Yeah, 23.
greasers, did you get them?
Yeah, I got the two greasers. There's two
Hmm.
more somewhere. It was 23. But I mean,
Interesting.
Close to that. I didn't realize it was that much. I didn't.
but
I
I
honestly
mean,
didn't.
just by counting it up right there, we're at 21.
Yeah. Definitely
So, I
bigger
mean-
than 10.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I didn't think there was 21 people in the whole movie.
I didn't either. And so I was counting and I was going, I miscounted or something. And I looked it up. And then the internet was like, maybe it said 22 and 23 counting Vic. And so maybe it's 22. I have miscounted 1 to 2 people just now because I'm going off of just memory. But
Yeah.
we're
I was so
at
impressed.
21 right there.
Wow, that's crazy. I never thought that. I wonder
Oh,
how that
yeah.
kill count stacks up with the other movies.
So I think that this is the highest kill count of the whole franchise.
Hmm.
For a single movie, I think this is the highest kill count.
Awesome. I'll tell you what, before we break down the ending of the movie, Cade, let's watch Violet's kill scene because, again, this is one of my favorite scenes of all time. Violet
Yeah,
doing the
sure.
robot up in her room.
Remember
I
to
will
mute that.
turn
Corky, put
the
our
audio
stuff.
off for this.
Put our stuff on.
Oh, definitely will. Just got to put some music to it.
Let's get it.
This is an iconic scene with her doing the robot, man. Check her out.
Kind of
Check out that hairdo, man.
She reminds me of the girl from the that does the ice skating for the U.S. Like the blonde.
Oh, yeah,
one.
yeah.
Alyssa Liu.
Look at that crimped hair, boy. Tell me about it.
If I could grow hair again, I'd probably rock that.
Oh, definitely. And here Roy is being a creeper.
You can't interrupt dancing.
Where
like
she's
you yell
acting
at her
like
to
she's
get
getting pulled by the rope. That's funny. There it is.
Is that Michael Myers? What is that? And nobody wore a bra in this movie, by the way.
They were outlawed. And right before this scene, of course, you see the other chick naked.
Yeah, gotta go back into it, man, while it's lightning outside.
She's been working with Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
This might be a good way to
wishes he could
this
be
might be a
that
good way to
cool.
relieve stress after work. I think I'll just turn to the robot.
She was probably also in Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
She could have been in the Olympics, man.
Oh, the Olympic breakdancing.
And Violet goes down. You know, Roy's is pretty strong just to be a normal guy, you know?
See, that's something else I was going to talk about. He shows some superhuman, like,
I hate to cut that song
supernatural
off, man.
abilities.
It's so awesome.
Because there ain't a soul on this planet that could choke someone and live. I mean, maybe like some super strong people, but I don't know, man. That's
Not
a lot
Roy
of strength.
Burns, man. That guy couldn't do it.
Yeah. Roy Burns couldn't do it.
He
But
also gets stabbed in the leg later on in the movie and eats it, and then gets hit by like a tractor. Like,
yeah, that
the
tractor messed him up too. He laid there for a long time.
you talk about the slowest like tractor ever. He just sitting there just like, oh, like
Yeah,
dude, it's
yeah.
not even that bright. He gets smacked by it. Anyway,
All right, guys, I'll break down the ending of the movie here real quick. Then we'll
Do
rate
it.
this bad boy. How's that sound?
Let's do
sounds
it.
good.
All right, in the
Go.
final act, the remaining characters desperately try to escape as the killer closes in. Pam and Tommy flee through the woods and eventually end up in an old barn where the masked killer corners them. During the struggle, the mask is finally ripped off, revealing that the killer isn't Jason, Instead, it's Roy Burns, a paramedic whose son was the troubled resident murdered earlier at Pinehurst. Roy snapped after his son's death and began killing everybody while dressed up as Jason to take revenge. Roy is ultimately killed during the confrontation, but the movie ends on a chilling note. Tommy, still deeply disturbed, appears in Jason's hockey mask standing over Pam's bed with a knife, leaving the audience wondering if Tommy might be the one to carry on Jason's legacy. And this is just like Halloween 2018, and what was this? They suck so bad. What was the middle one?
It
Daniel,
was
Halloween
just what
Kills.
was that?
Kills.
Yeah, kills.
I don't think this would have been a bad idea to go on with a copycat killer like that. I think that would have been all right. I think they could have done that with Halloween, and I think they could have done that with this movie, but they decided to
Well,
bring Jason back from the dead, which was fine too, but they could have went places with this.
when you throw back to Halloween 4 actually copied kind of what this was going with, because
Yeah.
Jamie ended up like stabbing her stepmom at the end of part
Right.
4, and she was actually had taken on the spirit of her uncle, and
Yeah.
that was 1988. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they-
but Kills kind of the same way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
This
definitely.
this movie could have been a Scooby Doo episode.
Well, it's definitely a precursor to the whodunit genre that Scream took over
I
in the
would have
90s.
gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you meddling kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they knock Roy out of the top of the barn, and he lands on some spikes like Mortal Kombat style, fighting in the pit. You know what I'm saying?
Fatality.
Yeah, definitely fatality. Yep. Find out it's Roy, and they take old Tommy back to the hospital. He flips out again, puts on Roy's mask, jumps out the window, and they just forget that ever happened in the next movie.
Well,
Yeah.
he makes it look like he jumped out the window. Pam actually
yeah.
walked in and the door closed, and Tommy was standing there right behind her with a knife.
Yeah, then it goes off, and then we forget that ever happened.
Yeah. Then we retcon the hell out of that because part six takes off where Tommy's an adult already out of the institution.
Yeah.
No mention of Pam ever again. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
he
know.
killed her or not.
We'll just say it's a dream sequence.
That's all it was.
Another dream
But-
sequence. We'll
Yeah,
go with that.
But
We'll go
I'll
with
tell
that.
you guys this much though, they don't really forget. They try to tie these two movies in good, because anybody knows me, part 6 is the greatest Friday the 13th movie ever made. Hands down, I will fight somebody over that. Anybody out there in internet land, you want to come at me, come at me.
I've
But-
never seen it. We need to watch it.
Listen, it's in my opinion, the best Friday the 13th they made.
Part 6 is the last good one because it
Yeah.
ends the Tommy trilogy.
Yeah.
So far, all of these movies from part 1 all the way up through part 5 have followed a little bit of consistency.
Mhm.
And part 6 is the last movie that continues with that consistency. After
Right.
that, part 7 through everything else that was made are all considered one-offs. Like
Yeah.
the rest of them didn't happen. And so
But,
you've got Tina that comes in part 7. It's a one-off because she
Yeah.
has her own backstory, everything. Part 8 is even more absurd.
Part 8
It's
is when
like-
they started smoking crack, is what I'll say.
Yeah, I don't know what the crap was going on with part 8, but yeah, they started smoking crack.
But what I was going to say is how they try to tie these two movies in. Yeah, we don't hear from Pam anymore, and here's a little foreshadowing for you, Cade. At the first of part 6, when he's driving to the graveyard, because Tommy wants to make sure Jason's dead. He can't get it out of his head. He has to see his body, right? The truck he's driving in part 6 is the same truck that they were driving in part 5, that baby blue truck. Same
Yeah.
truck. So he obviously still kept in touch with Pam somehow because he's driving her truck. So,
Mm.
how that happens, they never explain it, but that's
I've never
definitely
Maybe
looked
the
at
thing.
it.
he killed her and took the truck
He
and
may have.
Yeah, I was just
Moved
about
on
to
with
say
his
it's
life.
interesting.
Her
'cause
body
it's
might
at
be
the
in
end
the
of part
back.
5.
You remember when I said there was 23 kills? That's the last one. So it was counting Pam as a kill, and it was counting Vic as a kill. So they got it to 23. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't agree with
Well, I'm
that. I
still
don't
gonna
think
call
Pam
it
was
I don't
killed.
agree. I think the kills should be at 21. I think that Vic and Pam live, but yeah, that's what it was doing.
Yeah. Makes sense. And doesn't make sense at the same time.
Of course, in true Friday the 13th fashion.
Yeah. All right. Let's rate this puppy. Bryson, why don't you go first, buddy?
So I do not have my full, and I know this is a theme over the last several episodes I've been on. I do not have my score sheet in front of me, but from when I wrote it for last like couple of weeks ago when we were gonna record this episode, I want to say it was like a 6 or a 7. So I'm gonna round it up to a 7 because it's Jason.
There you go.
So we'll say a
Nice.
7 out of 10.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Kay, you go next, buddy.
Yeah, so for me, I gave this a 6 out of 10, and I was going through my score rankings and trying to get a good one for this, and I bumped it up to a 6 mainly because I compared it to The Burning, and where I ranked that the last time, I actually gave The Burning like a 5. And so I really wanted to give this one a better ranking because I think it is a better movie. So solid movie, not too long. It's very entertaining from start to finish. It knows what it's good at. It doesn't try to beat around the bush and try to act like it's going to win any kind of award. It just wants to show you a good slasher movie, and that's what you get out of this. This is a true slasher film. So I got a 6 out of 10 for this.
Awesome. I'll go next. As much as I love this movie, I do realize it's not a good movie, as a whole. Even though it's got three of the most iconic scenes that I love, I'm going to give this movie a 6.5, which will round it up to 7. But, it's got its flaws. I think they were trying to go in a good direction with it the best they could. And I know there was some time crunches with the script and stuff like that when they couldn't get Corey Feldman to do the movie. So they done what they had to do to pump a movie out, within the next year. But, as far as nostalgia for me, love the movie. I love The Mask, but I understand that it's not that great of a movie. So I'll give it a 6.5. We'll round it up to 7, and I'll kick it over to you, Daniel.
All right, so I'm sitting at a solid 7, and this movie, this one in part 4, when it comes to renting, these two movies were the most rented at from when I was a kid. So when I was going in and I was looking for a horror movie, I was renting part 4 or I was renting part 5. So I've probably seen part 4 and part 5 more times than what I've seen the other ones. But part 5, there it is so 80s. Like it screams 80s to me, more so than what the, original part 2, part 3, part 4, more so than that. This movie, I don't know if it's a nostalgia thing for me, but if you want to compartmentalize the 1980s in a slasher movie, this is my 1980s slasher movie. It's right in the middle of the decade. There's just something about this movie that I'm just like, yeah, that's 80s right there. That's an 80s slasher film. I got higher marks for a little bit of symbolism, because it was more of a whodunit. They tried to do something a little different. It had like all of the high kills and everything, and they had some very creative kills. But I'm sitting at a solid 7. When I was a kid, even though I rented this movie most often just because it was the newest movie to rent, back then. Like, it's not a great movie, but it was never one of my favorites until recently. And that's kind of the way that I feel with part 3 as well. Because when I was a kid, I liked part 3, but I was always like, oh yeah, part 4, it's the greatest ever. It's got Corey Feldman in it. It's got, this and that. They actually killed Jason in that. And I was just all about part 4 forever, for decades. And so when I got older, I started gaining more appreciation for parts 3 and especially for part 5. The nostalgia factor really starts to help it out. So no, I agree with what Corky and everybody else is saying in the fact that it's not the greatest movie, but it's got that nostalgia factor for me and it just feels so 80s. So I give it a solid 7.
Awesome. What's that give us,
Cool.
Cade?
Yep, and that gives for the Remember That podcast, our score for this movie is a 7 out of 10. That's our
7
average
out
score
of
for
10.
everybody.
Solid.
That's a solid 7 out of 10. I had a good time with this one, guys. What do you guys think?
I think
Oh,
so
yeah.
too.
This
For
is
sure.
this is a fun movie to watch, man. I can just put this movie on like on a random Saturday morning, and just
Yeah.
be like, I'm just gonna watch part 5 today.
And
you
eat
know?
some cereal while you watch it, man.
Yeah, I mean
You know?
it's one of those kind of movies.
I
I'm
was
gonna
thinking
watch
eating
some
enchiladas.
cartoons.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
for
watch
sure.
Garfield and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I'm gonna turn on part 5.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you've heard it there. Remember That Crew gives Friday the 13th Part 5 a solid 7 out of 10. We want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Go check out our sponsor, the Cult of Cult Clothing Company. Make sure and use that code HorrorPod at checkout to get yourself 10% off of your order. They got some cool shirts, like this Halloween 3 shirt I got on. They got awesome gear for horror movies and all kinds of stuff like this. So go check out them. That's a Cult of Cult Clothing Company. Shoot. Having said that, man, we appreciate everybody join us. Tune in next week. I think we're going to do the movie Scream. So that'll be a good one as well. So,
Yeah.
Nice.
all right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
See you. Bye.
See you.
See you,
Bye.
bye.